My cousin, Linda, often remarked that her house possessed a character all its own. Not in a frightening, eerie way, but in a familiar, somewhat disordered, and ultimately soothing manner. It was the sort of home that invited you to shed your shoes, settle into a well-worn armchair that had likely experienced its share of stories, and simply exhale. That was precisely what I was looking for. At 58, the journey of life had presented me with a series of unexpected challenges. A separation that unfolded with a sense of understanding, yet still carried a lingering emptiness as the children matured and departed, rendering the home unsettlingly silent. As soon as Linda extended her invitation for a weekend stay while she and her husband, Tom, embarked on a charming anniversary getaway, I swiftly packed my overnight bag, eager to seize the opportunity before she could even complete her thought. The house sat comfortably on a serene, tree-lined street, in a section of town that seemed to exist in a realm far removed from my own pristine suburban cul-de-sac. The atmosphere enveloped me, rich with the fragrance of blooming jasmine and the crispness of freshly cut grass. Within the space, the warm, joyful disarray of Linda's existence welcomed me as if we were long-lost companions. Along the hallway, framed photos of her two boys captured moments from their gap-toothed grins to their college graduations. Her youngest, Leo, was still in college, a detail that consistently stirred a hint of envy within me as the vibrant life around her continued to thrive. My own home resembled a gallery showcasing the remnants of a life that had once flourished. The first evening unfolded in a serene embrace of solitude, a moment of pure bliss. As I wandered through Linda's garden, vibrant flowers danced in the breeze alongside wild herbs, their scents mingling in the air. I eventually found my way to the porch swing, where I sank into its embrace, a glass of chilled tea in hand and a long-awaited book resting on my lap, ready to transport me to another world. As the sun sank beneath the horizon, it brushed the sky with shades of orange and purple, and in that moment, a long-awaited tranquility enveloped me. Linda had left a lasagna for me in the fridge, and I found myself eating it at the kitchen counter, experiencing an unusual sense of liberation in the uncomplicated choice of not needing to prepare a table for one. Later, nestled in a warm Afghan on the sofa, I perused old photo albums, embarking on a sentimental voyage through our intertwined childhoods. In the stillness of the house, a soft hum emanated from the refrigerator, punctuated by the sporadic creaks of the aged floorboards beneath. The silence enveloped me like a warm embrace, a stark contrast to the hollow quiet I had known before. A wave of appreciation washed over me for Linda, for the sanctuary she had provided. As I wandered through the house, I found myself in the guest room, a snug retreat tucked away at the rear, offering a view of the serene garden. Upon the bed lay a meticulously crafted quilt, while the fragrance of lavender lingered softly in the atmosphere. As I surrendered to the embrace of slumber, a sense of ease washed over me, a welcome reprieve after months of restless nights, serenaded by the soft, rhythmic chirping of crickets outside my window. It was likely well beyond midnight when I was roused from my slumber. A gentle disturbance lingered in the air, a quiet thump resonating from below, succeeded by the delicate sound of a door softly closing. My mind immediately drifted to Linda and Tom. It was possible they might return sooner than expected. Yet, I caught the sound of footsteps ascending the stairs, deliberate and unhurried, unlike the frantic pace of someone coming back home. A shiver of discomfort coursed through me. In that moment, solitude enveloped me within the confines of the house. I propped myself up in bed, feeling my heart race with a heightened intensity. Silence enveloped the space as the footsteps came to a halt just beyond my threshold. I paused, my senses heightened in the enveloping shadows. As the doorknob began to turn, it did so slowly, with a sense of hesitation lingering in the air. A whirlwind of frantic scenarios surged through my mind. A trespasser? A neighbor facing difficulties? The door slowly opened with a creak, revealing a tall figure standing in the doorway, illuminated by the faint glow of the hallway light behind them. My breath caught in my throat. He stood before me, his height strikingly greater than what I had recalled from the Christmas card images. The gentle illumination from the hallway enveloped his face in a dance of shadows, yet I could discern the recognizable dark, curly hair and the determined line of his jaw, reminiscent of his father's features. He remained oblivious to my presence, his eyes fixed on the ground, as though he were striving to blend into the silence around him. With a cautious footfall, he entered the room, revealing the duffel bag he clutched tightly in his grasp. In that moment, it dawned on me that he had returned from college for the weekend, blissfully ignorant of the fact that the guest room his parents offered was already taken. My initial fear transformed into a surge of an indescribable feeling, something elusive and profound. A peculiar blend of astonishment washed over me, accompanied by a sharp realization of my own existence within this close-knit family setting. At last, he raised his gaze, and our eyes connected in the softly illuminated space. I witnessed the sudden spark of understanding in his eyes, quickly followed by a wave of embarrassment that the shadows failed to conceal. "And Sarah," he murmured, his voice a deep, husky tone that caught me off guard. "What brings you to this place?" My voice emerged, tentative and unsteady in the beginning. "Leo, you nearly gave me a heart attack." I aimed for a cheerful tone, yet my heart continued to flutter softly against my ribs. A gradual smile unfurled on his lips, a delightful, crooked grin that immediately brought to mind a younger version of Leo, the one who used to trail behind me like a shadow at family gatherings. "I'm truly sorry," he murmured, stepping back slightly, as if to create a distance between us. "I was unaware that anyone else was present. My parents kept it from me. They embarked on a small journey," I shared, tugging the quilt up a bit more. "This weekend, I find myself entrusted with the care of a home, a temporary guardian of its comforts and secrets." He stood in the doorway, a vivid embodiment of youthful energy, his nod a silent affirmation amidst the calm of his stillness. Clad in a plain t-shirt and jeans, I couldn't help but notice the transformation he had undergone into adulthood. The slender boy from my recollections had transformed into a young man, now possessing broad shoulders and an air of quiet assurance. "Well," he remarked, a trace of mirth dancing in his tone, "this situation feels somewhat uncomfortable." A soft chuckle escaped my lips, a heartfelt sound that eased the heaviness that lingered in the air. A mere hint. He adjusted his stance, and the duffel bag he carried made a gentle thud against the doorframe. "I intended to settle in for the night. On Monday, I have an early class, and the thought of driving all the way back tomorrow doesn't sit well with me." Without hesitation, I replied swiftly, "This is indeed your space, after all." As I began to swing my legs out of bed, a sense of anticipation filled the air. "The sofa is something I can take." No, he exclaimed without hesitation, advancing into the room. "Let's not be foolish. The sofa is something I can take." I've pondered it endlessly. We lingered for a moment, caught in an unusual standoff beneath the cloak of night. The atmosphere was laden with a silent courtesy, a mutual recognition of the unforeseen nature of the circumstances. Yet beneath the surface, there was another sensation, a bond, a spark of something known, yet refreshingly different. His gaze held a depth that transcended our familial bond. He saw me not merely as his aunt, but as an individual, a woman in my own right. In that instant, I glimpsed a reflection of my younger self within his gaze, a poignant reminder of an era when life brimmed with endless possibilities. "Let me share something with you," I remarked, as a spontaneous thought took shape in my mind. "The bed offers ample space for two, provided that snoring is kept at bay." A look of astonishment, accompanied by a youthful grin, brightened his expression. "Agreed. However, I cannot guarantee anything." He let his duffel bag fall to the floor by the door and made his way to the opposite side of the bed. As he settled into the chair, the mattress sank slightly, and I became acutely aware of how close he was to me. The aroma enveloped us, a fresh, distinctly masculine fragrance of soap mingling with an essence that was entirely his, saturating the intimate space that separated us. I moved aside, creating space for him, my heart performing a joyful rhythm that was no longer tied to fear. He was merely a boy, I reminded myself, the son of my cousin. Yet, within the serene embrace of that moonlit chamber, he sensed a deeper significance to his existence. He embodied a journey that was yet to be fully revealed, a tale that was only starting to take shape. For a fleeting moment, I sensed that I belonged to it all. He nestled into the bed next to me, the air around us thick with unspoken tension. It wasn't unpleasant, yet it lingered, a palpable sense of another's presence that I hadn't felt in quite some time. For a few moments, we found ourselves lying there, gazing up at the ceiling, the only sounds being the soft hum of the house and the rhythm of our own quiet breaths. In the stillness of the night, he spoke, his voice barely rising above a whisper. "How have you been, dear Aunt Sarah?" "Is that so?" The inquiry lingered, both straightforward and deeply significant. It was deeper than mere pleasantries. "How do you fare today?" I had grown accustomed to. His tone carried a sincere curiosity, a profoundness that took me by surprise. I shifted my gaze on the pillow to meet his eyes. In the dim glow seeping through the window, I caught a glimpse of the sincere look etched on his face. "I've been okay," I confessed, the term resonating with a sense of inadequacy. "Life has taken on a somewhat subdued rhythm in recent times." He nodded, a contemplative expression gracing his features. "Mom shared the news of the divorce with me. I regret it, but it was for the best," I expressed. To my astonishment, the words resonated with authenticity. "It's like we drifted in different directions, you know?" "I think so," he said, his gaze drifting into the distance for a moment. "At times, I observe it with the parents of my friend. It feels as though they inhabit the same space, yet exist in entirely separate realms." His keen perception took me by surprise. Though he was young, there was a depth to him that spoke of ages past. We conversed for what seemed like an eternity, our voices gentle murmurs in the darkness. He shared with me the details of his classes, his fervor for photography, and his aspirations of exploring the globe. I discovered a vulnerability within myself as I shared my thoughts with him, a connection I had never experienced with anyone before, not even with Linda. I shared with him the profound void that lingered in my home, the sense of disconnection that enveloped me now that my identity as a mother had transformed. He listened with unwavering attention, his presence a soothing beacon amidst the shadows. In his gaze, there was an absence of judgment, replaced instead by a serene understanding that gently eased a hidden ache within my soul. He shared his own doubts, the weight of needing to have everything sorted, the anxiety of potentially choosing the wrong path. In that moment of openness, a connection blossomed between us, an unseen thread linking two souls navigating their own distinct paths. In a moment that felt suspended in time, his hand reached out, bridging the distance that lay between us. What began as a simple, innocent gesture unexpectedly ignited a surge of warmth within me. His fingers, long and cool, intertwined with mine effortlessly, as if it were the most natural thing in the world. It lacked the flair of romance, yet it was profoundly intimate, a wordless recognition of the bond we had built during the stillness of the night. In that moment, I understood that this unforeseen meeting held a significance beyond mere awkwardness. It was a token, a gentle nudge that life still had the capacity for unexpected wonders, that fresh bonds could blossom in the most unforeseen circumstances. A soft whisper from the cosmos reminded me that my journey was far from complete, that there were still pages waiting to be filled. With the first whispers of dawn painting the sky, our words faded into a serene stillness. He continued to hold my hand, his thumb softly caressing the back of mine. A deep tranquility enveloped me, a satisfaction that had eluded my existence for an extended period. "You know," he murmured, his voice heavy with drowsiness, "you're more than just my Aunt Sarah. You possess an undeniable charm and uniqueness that sets you apart." A smile graced my lips. "You're quite impressive in your own right, Leo." He gently squeezed my hand before withdrawing and shifting onto his side, presenting his back to me. As he succumbed to slumber, I observed the soft undulation of his shoulders, a serene rhythm in the quiet of the night. I lingered in wakefulness as the initial beams of the morning sun poured a warm, golden light into the space. A wave of rejuvenation washed over me, accompanied by a gentle happiness that felt both fresh and reminiscent. The evening began with an unforeseen disruption, a surge of trepidation and doubt, yet it transformed into something exquisite, something I understood would remain dear to me for years to come. It served as a gentle nudge that in the stillest moments of our existence, the deepest bonds can form, and that often, the most surprising turns can guide us precisely to our destined path. With my eyes shut tight and a true smile gracing my lips, I found myself, for the first time in ages, anticipating the day that lay before me. I awoke to the enticing aroma of coffee, not the instant variety I typically brewed at home, but the deep, fragrant scent of freshly ground beans. The other side of the bed lay vacant, the sheets cool beneath my fingers. For a fleeting instant, I questioned whether the entire experience had been a figment of my imagination, the soft-spoken dialogue, the mutual openness, the tender brush of his hand against mine. Yet, there it was, his duffel bag lingering by the door, and on the bedside table, a small folded note awaited discovery. I lifted it, a small flutter of excitement stirring within me. The handwriting danced across the page, a vibrant scrawl brimming with youthful exuberance and distinct personality. "Aunt Sarah," it said, "has gone for a run. The coffee is brewing. Feel free to pour yourself a cup. Our conversation last night was truly enjoyable." As Leo entered the room, a smile blossomed on my face. Everything unfolded as it truly was. I emerged from my slumber, a sense of buoyancy enveloping me, as if years of weight had been lifted away. With a gentle rustle, I donned my robe and made my way down the stairs, my footsteps soft against the floor as I approached the kitchen. The house basked in the gentle embrace of morning light, while the rich scent of coffee enveloped the space, intensifying the atmosphere. On the counter, a pot simmered gently, while a pristine mug awaited my arrival, ready to embrace the warmth within. As I filled my cup and brought it to my lips, the deep, velvety brew awakened my senses with its invigorating embrace. I rested against the counter, gazing through the kitchen window at the lush greenery of Linda's garden. This morning, the world appeared to shine with a renewed glow, brimming with potential and hope. The front door creaked open and then shut, the echo of footsteps trailing behind it. Moments later, Leo emerged in the kitchen doorway, his face flushed from the exertion of his run, a delicate sheen of sweat glistening on his brow. Clad in shorts and a t-shirt, he radiated a sense of vibrancy and life under the bright daylight. "Morning," he said, his voice carrying a hint of lingering breathlessness. He offered me that familiar lopsided grin that had captivated me the previous night. "Morning," I responded, my voice filled with warmth. "I appreciate the coffee. It's delicious." "No problem," he replied, reaching for a glass in the cupboard and filling it with water from the tap. With a swift motion, he swallowed it all in a single, deep gulp, his Adam's apple rising and falling in rhythm. We lingered in a warm silence for a moment, the effortless bond from the previous night still echoing around us. In the stillness of the morning kitchen, it felt like a seamless part of the day to be here with him. It resonated with a sense of belonging, not the hollow structure I resided in, but a genuine sanctuary brimming with vitality and comfort, embodying the hope of a fresh beginning. "So," he said, leaning against the opposite counter, "what are your plans for today? Don't let me get in your way." "I don't have any plans," I admitted. "I was just going to read and relax." Sounds nice, he replied, though it seemed a bit dull. Don't you agree? I raised an eyebrow. And what do you suggest, a wise one? He chuckled, a rich, full sound that filled the kitchen. Well, he said, a mischievous glint in his eyes, I was thinking of going for a drive. In a quaint little town nestled along the coast, just an hour's drive from here, there lies a story waiting to be told. There's this charming diner that serves the most incredible milkshakes you've ever had. He paused, locking eyes with me. Care to join me? The invitation lingered, a vivid, unforeseen opportunity amidst the stillness of my tranquil weekend. A fragment of my being, the rational 52-year-old aspect, felt compelled to decline. The decision felt hasty, a stark departure from the usual demeanor. Yet, there was another facet of my being, one that had long been asleep, that craved an adventure, however minor it might be. I don't know, I replied, my uncertainty evident. Come on, he encouraged, his tone soothing. It promises to be an enjoyable experience. We can talk more. I want to hear more of your stories. In that moment, I was captivated. The idea of spending the day with him, of deepening our dialogue, of simply basking in his lively presence, was an irresistible allure. All right, I replied, a grin blossoming on my lips. You're on, but you're buying the milkshakes. Deal, he replied, a broad smile spreading across his face. The day unfolded in ways I had only dreamed of, surpassing all my expectations. With the windows rolled down, we felt the rush of the wind through our hair, our voices blending with the classic rock melodies playing on the radio. He navigated the roads with skill, exuding a calm assurance that put me at ease. We engaged in lively conversation, our laughter intertwining seamlessly, just as it had the previous evening. He shared with me the depths of his photography, revealing his fervor for seizing the beauty found in the ordinary moments of life. I shared with him the echoes of my own neglected aspirations, the ambitions I had put on hold to nurture a family and embrace the role of a wife. The small town unfolded before him, just as he had painted it, filled with delightful shops and warm smiles from the locals. Our lunch at the diner unfolded with a delightful surprise. The milkshakes were, without a doubt, the finest I had ever savored. As we strolled down the beach, the waves thundered against the shore, and the invigorating scent of salt filled the air. He captured moments of everything, the way the light danced upon the water, the intricate patterns etched in the sand, the joyful lines that framed my eyes. As he gazed at me through the lens of his camera, I caught a glimpse of myself anew, not merely as a middle-aged woman whose prime had faded, but as a vibrant individual, brimming with life, a woman whose narrative was still unfolding, rich with tales waiting to be shared. As we made our way home in the late afternoon, the sun stretched its rays, creating elongated shadows that danced along the pavement, and a warm, familiar quiet enveloped us. The stillness enveloped them, rich with a mutual comprehension, a profound and silent bond that spoke volumes. A wave of gratitude washed over me, so deep it nearly brought tears to my eyes. This weekend, which began as a mere getaway from my tranquil existence, evolved into an experience far beyond my expectations. The experience unfolded like a tale of awakening, revealing the delight and wonder that often lie hidden in the most surprising corners of life. It was entirely due to the boy beside me, the one with the ancient spirit and the crooked smile, who had entered my world in the most unforeseen way. As we returned to the house, the sun dipped low on the horizon, casting a breathtaking tapestry of fiery oranges and reds across the sky. We lingered on the porch, captivated by the fading colors, both reluctant to let the day slip away. "Thank you, Leo," I said, my voice gentle and filled with warmth. "For today, for everything that has brought us here." He turned to me, his expression earnest. "Thank you, Aunt Sarah," he replied, sincerity in his tone. I really needed this. In that instant, clarity washed over me. We had both wandered through our own uncertainties, and in discovering one another, We had unearthed fragments of our true selves. The weekend was drawing to a close, yet I felt certain that the bond we forged would endure through the years. In the stillness of the night, a connection was formed, built on respect and a collective path of self-exploration. As I stood there, observing the final glimmers of sunlight fade away, I realized that my narrative was only just unfolding. It truly felt like the start of something new.